Dr. Amit Ranjan Biswas. Amita, how are you today, Amita?
I'm really good it could be in a hot, summery London.
Thank you and thanks for your time.
Not at all. Thank you for inviting me to your channel.
So, you are a doctor by trade, by profession, but after 3 decades of practice in psychiatry, now you are dedicated yourself towards holistic well being. And you are talking, coaching about self awareness, self care, purpose in life, focusing on mental wealth, what we human being we have or we evolved over the years. In this whole umbrella, there is a word you like to describe and you are very attached to it, I know personally, which is resilience. And today we will majorly talk on that. Resilience. Please describe it to the audience scientifically and psychologically.
Thank you for that is a great question and the central to what I do or we have been doing. Now, resilience means it is a capacity that we have or we can cultivate further to adapt and cope with adversity, navigating through life's challenges. And not only that, it's a dynamic process. While we cope, we learn from the adverse reactions and difficulties, challenges in life, and bounce back or even bounce forward. So it's about going through the challenges, adapting in a very balanced and equanimous way, and bounce back. The potential human capacity to go through this, face challenges in life, is resilience.
Right. So is it kind of an inborn trait or it's a learned skill or it's a dynamic interaction and an organic thing?
It's a both. As you know, everything in life is about nature and nurture. That means, yes, we are unique people, individuals. Genetically, we do have some traits that makes us strength compared to other individuals. Genetically, we are primed to see things differently or have a different perspective towards life. However, most importantly, resilience is a trait that can be cultivated, that can actually we can grow in and develop within ourselves. This is the inner strength that we can learn very systematically practicing, and there are evidence based, research based ways to cultivate the inner resilience so we can cope better, we can learn better. And specifically, I will mention here the work from Carol Dweck, what is called the growth mindset. I mean, there are fixed mindset. We do things in a fixed way. We habitual reactions. And there is growth mindset, what Carol Dweck says. It's about learning from our mistakes, learning from our failures. It's nothing failures. It's all about learning and growing in experience. And more we grow, we actually learn how to cope better. We learn about not only just the adversities, learn about ourselves. Our self awareness goes, which is one of the most important pillars of resilience. So, yes, it is both, but one of the most important trainings are in life that we grow our resilience as we go on in life and we can practice. It's all about learning, growing, consistent practices, evidence based practices to build up our inner muscles. It could be emotional muscles, mental or cognitive, or even spiritual muscles. As we go in the gym to build our physical muscles, we go our resilient muscles in a very multidimensional way. And there is a saying, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. That's resilience.
I would like to know it from childhood to adulthood. Okay. So let's say childhood, where pretty much we are not in our control. Our parents, our situations, our family kind of controlling us, and we failed, we grow up, whatever. What are the best thing to teach to these child so that they can become more resilient down the line?
I would go away from the word we have been controlled. I mean, there are types of parenting. I will divert a little bit, okay? There are what is called authoritarian parenting, like it's a very military-based parenting, okay? That is control. Okay, I mean, you have seen the films like Sound of Music, and they are kind of make a whistle and people are lining up. That control produces very compliant children, but their self-esteem, their confidence, they're low. They cannot take risk. They cannot think of themselves. They cannot problem solve. So this is a problematic thing. As I said, nurture. If we have authoritarian parenting, we have seen that in our schools in India, in various things, and in some way, my father was somehow controlling or authoritarian, but other ways he was very caring, and it mitigates some factor. But there are other styles of parenting, such as authoritative parenting. That means we have some control because we are under the parents' roofs. Children are there. At the same time, working with flexibility, understanding the child and be flexible around. There are rules, there are boundaries, but with explanation. So it's a mitigates the factor of from the top, over the top parenting, but the parenting who comes with understanding, comes with really nurturing, care, love, stimulating, that kind of parenting. There are other parenting, lazy parenting, no control, nothing, children do whatever. So, what I wanted to say, the child perhaps is born with certain temperaments. There are very famous Thomas and Sad's New York study about everybody's child's temperaments are different, and very early childhood we know the slow to warm up child, a warm child, and things like that. Now, as our environment shapes and contributes to our development, and our environments, not only our parents, our teachers, our other elders that are connected to, everybody contributes to our growth, our attachment. And again, I wanted to use that word attachment in a very scientific way. Lot of children are do not have so-called good enough parenting. Their attachment styles can be very insecure, very anxious, avoidant. Those children imbibe a template, what we call insecure template, anxious template, and their relationships and how they relate to the world becomes very different. So there are a lot of unconscious processes that goes on while we are brought up as a child. However, so the first thing, it is quite important for the parents to know how to parent a child. Parenting is a skill. We are not born with it. It's like driving, we learn the skills. And for a child's growth and build up the solid internal muscles of resilience, this is really important. The parents also know how to relate to the child differently, how to be mindful to their needs, be flexible, how to tune in with their emotions, how to praise. Praise is a very good reinforcer. How to balance, we don't call punishments, how to balance consequences and rewards. And this is how, from a very early childhood, we can teach our children how to be resilient because they will fail and they will kind of learn from those failures. They will have various adversities in life, physical, mental challenges, schools, arguments with friends, but every showing the child from every opportunity of these challenges is a hotbed of growth. So through this teaching from an early childhood, our what we call our carers, not just parents, our carers can really build up these muscles. However, as we grow up, there are important ways to build up the resilience, and that we have to learn. I mean, some of these we imbibe very naturally without even knowing. I'll give an example. One of the most important factors of resilience is the high quality social connections. Okay. That makes us happy, that makes us resilient. This is one of the most important factors. And as we know, we grow up with the friends, our uncles, our families, and we create different relationship. Then we have boyfriends, girlfriends, extended people. These high quality relationship really protects us from many things. I mean, there are huge evidence of how the power of connection. There is a beautiful word, it's a research kind of based work by Robert Brooks called charismatic adults. Now, I will explain. The research is a lot of children go through abuse, a lot of physical abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, even. But in a long term study, it's been seen some people are more resilient than others. Some people actually carry on having difficult times in their lives. They don't do very well. They get depressed, anxious, have mental health problems in their later part. Some people growing through the similar experience actually do reasonably well, much better than others. And what is the difference there? The difference is that charismatic adult. What does it mean? And the one person, even, and one person, one teacher particularly, who nurtures them, who listens to them, who cares for them, being compassionate, who teaches them skills and accepts them who they are. One person can mitigate those factors, and it's a research. And as we even grow up, we need those charismatic adults in our lives. One confident, one good friend. You don't have to have Facebook 500 friends. A high quality connection that nurtures us. Those radiators. There are many refrigerators, but those radiators can warm us up, can nurture us, can make us flourish. So there are many factors that can build up resilience, but high quality social connections that we have from our childhood that can and help us to build our muscles.
When I talk to parents, some of them they say that my child is a bit shy, they don't like to talk much. What I hear is, okay, a child can be shy, a child can be introvert, whatever. But many of them, they don't know how to articulate their emotions properly. And to do that, is it a good way of saying that exposing kids to the various environment or giving them opportunity to meet new people, more people? Is it a good way to kind of strengthen this skill?
100%. Now, I just wrote down a few words you said. Firstly, a child is shy is a common description, but what does shy means? Shy means a lot of things. Like I'll give you from my example, a bit of a developmental perspective. A shy child may have developmental problems such as social developmental problem, social communicatory problem. We might question if the child has autism spectrum disorder, or maybe not. Maybe just temperament is shy means that person might not be able to break the barriers of their resistance of socialization and go out. So if the person have a developmental problem, we need to understand it, be aware it, and really help the child to go up in their social confidence, social skills. Because one of the key feature of autism is lack of reciprocal social communicatory ability. The quality of social interactional problems is high. Now that's a different ballgame. There are ways to improve by social contact, improving getting into small groups, improving their confidence, and all of that. The other group, so-called normal, I would say everybody has neurodiversity. Everybody have the strengths and challenges. So in the other group, who is typically called shy, we have to understand where is the barrier. If the barrier is emotional expression, that I cannot say when I'm angry, I cannot say I'm behaving badly, but I am really not able to express in a term that I'm angry. I am anxious. I am tense. I am this. Part of the kids that who has some barriers of social communication, be it confidence, be it lack of emotional expression, this can be taught. Okay, their confidence can be helped by many ways, like praise, exposing themselves into small groups and bigger groups, strangers. They need some guidance, how to talk, how to improve their communication abilities, how really have an label for their emotions, such as I'm angry, I'm anxious, I feel bad, I feel low. So, emotional labeling, how can I express myself in words, in letters, in visual stories? All of these are range of tools that adults can use to improve the communication, improve social connections. And this is, yes, 100%, as we say, if it improves the socialization process, that will improve resilience, happiness, well-being. And it's not just psychological, it's physical. There are good evidence, if you relate better to others, you sleep better, you actually become happier, your life satisfaction increases, your immunity increases. There's a lot of parameters that improves, just about improving your social understanding, communication, relatedness, relating to myself and relating to world. This is what emotional intelligence does. And emotional intelligence and self-awareness is one of the first pillar of resilience.
Now, in teenage years, there are a lot of complications in the sense like they are always in a fight and flight mode, or, or there is a generation gap between parents or what they are thinking or expressing. In many cases, like boys not even having a good relationship with their father. How to behave optimum way to these teenage kids?
The first thing I would say, there is no ideal, optimum, or kind of classic model of relating to teenagers. Everybody is different. Yes, we have an overarching phenomena of teenage issues, such as their hormones are kicking, there are little relationship issues, they will rebel, they will challenge, they will have a behavioral problem. However, this is about the first thing about the parents is to understand and tune in with their unique child or teen. It's called the mindful parenting. It's quite important that we parents really get wind up when they shout, scream, dysregulated. What the first thing do, we feel bad, we feel angry, we feel really now I have to control. It doesn't work. The first is about regulating our own emotions, holding it with a greater peace and clarity, and working from there. So we take time out, the simple things that rather than getting an argument in a heated space, we take a time out, we come back. When we are calm, we have a dialogue rather than one-way street. So the parenting is one important issue. The second issue is for the teenager to learn the regulation, how to regulate myself, self-regulation techniques, coping strategies. I'll give you an example very simply. We call this co-regulation, the parent and the child regulating things together. You are angry, your words made me angry. Let us breathe together. Teaching them how to even breathe. And breathing is a very powerful tool for regulation and improving resilience. How? I will divert a little bit. I'm not talking about just simple mindful breathing. I'm talking about particular ways to breathe that triggers our parasympathetic nervous system. There are two types of nervous system. Autonomic nervous system has our longest nerve is called vagus nerve. It is the one of the most important nerve because the longest, and it has sympathetic. You said fight, flight, or freeze response. It fires when we are in front of a threat. In ancient times, we see a tiger. These autonomic nervous system, sympathetic system fires. That means hormone wise, high level of cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline. We either fight or flight or freeze. That is a normal reaction. But there is another mode, parasympathetic, that is called thrive mode, rest and digest mode. Our job, like you and me now, go to that mode called rest and digest. One of the way to do that is simple breathing, such as box breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4. Pause. Box breathing. There are various kinds. We in our ancient Indian ways, a very effective ways is alternate pranayama breathing, alternate mouth breathing. There are mindfulness breathing. There are diaphragmatic breathing, belly breathing. All of them actually increases parasympathetic tone, make us calmer. Now, there are whatever ways to improve our parasympathetic tone, how to be calmer. Like, give an example. Having fresh water in the first thing when you are stressed, take a time out, go to the toilet, fresh, cold water increases parasympathetic tone. Okay, have a little kind of exercise snack, little movement improves tone. So these are the ways. I can't go through all. These are the ways that I learn to regulate myself when I'm in challenging situation. Parents, teachers, everyone needs to train the adolescents to do that, such as how to cope with adversity. Like, I'll give you what I generally say is, and this might be important for your viewers. I say A, B, C, D, E. A is for aware. I am angry. The first thing, that emotional leveling. You know what? I am angry. And accept it. It is what it is right here, right now. I'm angry. And parents can do that too. Okay? Rather than avoiding and then starting behaving, take a step back. Maybe ABCDE, one of the things I teach, and this is very powerful, and I have learned over the many years, very simple mantra called stop. Unless we stop, we kind of get into the nightmare of escalating things. Stop is stop, T for take a breath, or 3 breath, mindful breath, so you are coming back to your breath. O, observe what's happening. I am angry. I am anxious. I'm pissed off. And observe my mom is shouting at me. Observe my boss is calling. Observe my teacher is actually tell me something made me upset. Observe. And P, proceed. Proceed to where? Proceed to my coping strategy. So first is stop. Then A for accept. I am angry. It is what it is right here, right now. B is to breathe. Breathe and be. Take a time out. Breathe. Very easy. You can do that anytime. Okay. C is for connect. You take a time out. Other ways of coping. Connect means talk to a friend. Talk to somebody, a charismatic adult. Connect to something you like. Connect to do something you want to do as really that takes your steam out. Maybe have a little bit of a run, maybe kind of go and play football, whatever it is. See, D is distract. The distract technique is not taking away and escaping. It's about taking your mind to allowing it to calm down, such as writing few things down, having a drawing, distract yourself to listening to music, distract yourself perhaps to some sensory kind of integration we call sensory grounding. Smell lavender. Perhaps, as I said, listen to, perhaps see things that really helps you to calm down. Some good YouTube videos, some humorous stuff. Okay? All of this D. E is, as I said, a little bit of exercise, little bit of activity, just having a five up and down and steps going or little yoga postures, whatever work is an E. F is very important, and we don't realize that how F is forest, trees, nature. Just walk barefoot for a few minutes. And in general, this is what I'm saying is in a acute time when you are stressed, but it also builds up muscles. Regularly going to nature, connecting is one of the very simple, basic ways. Scientific explanation: trees release phytoncides, which improves immunity, makes us calm, is antibacterial, sleep makes us sleep. Nature has fantastic benefits, okay? F and G. G is sometimes helping, contributing, giving is one of the most important and useful ways to manage stress. Contributing, not only just at the time of stress is very difficult, but giving and contribution and benevolence to community, to others, to help out is really, really powerful. So to answer and summarize your question, we need to learn about social communication and expression. I forgot one thing about distractions is D is writing, expressing yourself fully, expressing your anger without censor. Penny Breaker and the colleagues from America has done years of research. If we really write things down, diarize, express ourselves in writing, it actually helps reduce our anxiety and helps our mood. Okay, so emotional expression, learning about communication, learning how to be compassionate communication, and how to regulate ourselves, both parents as well as the young person. But the last thing I will say, and if you take one or two things from this speaking, is self compassion. I cannot not really overemphasize this. I'm going to talk this a little bit from the work by Kirsten Neff, the psychologist, famous psychologist from Austin. Self-compassion is about a goodwill, a becoming a best friend to yourself, a be kind to ourselves when things doesn't go well. Because what we do, we beat ourselves, we punish ourselves. Oh shit, I cannot pass. Oh my God, I'm going to fail. Oh my God, I knew this person is going to reject me. But having a friendly attitude towards ourselves and in an evidence-based way and practicing this is self-compassion. It's not a wishy-washy thing. It's a highly research-based thing that improves our resilience, improves our happiness, confidence, self-esteem, improves our body, sleep. It's a massive amount of improvements and benefits that we get from improving self-compassion. Adolescents and parents, teachers, everybody, we need to know how to be kind. And there are three doorways. First, to recognize, tune in, I am suffering. This is the hard time right now. This is a difficult time. I'm struggling. Okay. When I stop, I go away, I do all these things, I breathing, then I recognize at this moment I'm struggling. Number one. Number two is an universal acceptance, a common humanity. What it is, I am not the only one who suffers. Everybody suffers. Everybody struggles in these situations. Everybody fails. I am not the only one. Because what we do, we separate ourselves from everyone. We think I am the only one who have a relationship problem. I am the only one who has problems with neighbors. I am the only one who is failing in teachers. I am struggling. I am not the only one. And then self-kindness gestures, doing things that works. As I said, distracting, doing things. It's not about having ice cream and watching bad Netflix. Well, you can do that, but it's about planning and way to be kind to ourselves. It's mindful self-compassion. I'm struggling. I'm not the only one. May I be kind to myself. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be my best friend. We advise our adolescents to write self-compassion journal, describing the incident, how did I think, what did I feel, and reframing from a friend's perspective what a friend would say. We take self-compassion breaks. And what I just say, I used to write down in my pocket self-compassion mantra. I'm struggling. This is a difficult time. Everybody struggles. May I be kind to myself. So I take a break, I go for a walk, I take some breathing, I drink some water, I have a little coffee, and I feel chill. Okay. This is how build up your resilience. So self-awareness and self-compassion is one of the highest important thing that we can do to build our resilience, be calm, and to manage the stormy teenage times.
One question, which is just a little, I'm diverting from here. There are a lot of single parenting happening these days. And with LGBTQ movement, there will be like father and mother. But as a nurture point of view, a father can teach certain things or bring certain things into the being, and mom can in a different way. In that singular system, what is the better way to handle it? Because from emotional side, the child is missing one aspect of it.
There are a lot of misconceptions, Gautam. The first thing is, again, there is no ideal way. Again, we have to remember that every child, every family is unique. They have their own ways to bring up the child. Of course, as we say in parenting, that it's a good enough parenting. Nobody is perfect. No parent is perfect. Okay? But we can learn the skills of good enough parenting. Means, am I nurturing the child? I'm loving the child. Am I stimulating the child environmentally, mentally, emotionally? Am I holding as a container? Now, the evidence is the divorce, separation, all of these does not affect the child if both the carers are involved. Itself, the single parenting doesn't mean that child is missing something. It is about even the other person is not involved. As I said, the attachment comes very early within 18 months of the child's birth. Solid, secure attachment styles that can be done with even one person. Even one attachment figure creates the solid template of our relationships in our life. Okay. So it's important that both parents are involved, not always necessary. Okay, it's a one good enough attachment figure. Then you have other attachment, like extended family attachments, like attachment into teachers and many other adults in their lives. Okay, so it's not about missing. But when the both parents are involved, the child goes in the weekend to father and then stays with mother. Generally, that's what happens. The parenting has to be consistent. The message has to be consistent because there are sometimes acrimony still going on after divorce. And there are hidden agendas. Your mom has done that. Oh, your dad has said that. Don't do that. Those things has to stop. It has to be child in the center, the person in the center. They know I have mom and dad, and the right explanation and social stories has to be created for them. Look, mom and dad come together. We have you. We both love you. We both care for you deeply. But sometimes adults grow up, they can't be together, and it's okay. We both love you, and that's the centrality of it. The child needs to be understood that I don't take it aside, and there are consistent message in the parenting. Both child can be nurtured. Yes, it can go with football or rugby or things with the dad or do some man things. Mom can nurture in a different way, or vice versa. As you said, in LGBTQ parenting, the both fathers or both mothers can shower their love, care, stimulation to the child, keeping them at the center. It's not about the gender, it's about the quality of the care. It's not the quantity, how many days I'm saying this. It's the quality and the consistency that what matters.
What you were saying, it's kind of resonating with me in a way that I know you for 1 year, but I can talk to you very deeply, very openly. It's a connection, right?
Yes.
So that means this kind of connection, it's not necessarily have to be within a certain time of our life. It can happen any
No.
time and with any age also, right?
Absolutely.
As long as that connection
The
is
high
solid.
quality connection means that we have something similar. We understand each other, we listen, we nurture, we develop together, grow, we stimulate each other, inspire each other, and learn from each other in mutuality. This is about high quality connection that I feel warm in your presence. We can learn. Okay. I mean, again, this is evidence based. What is high quality connection? As I said before, there are radiators and there are refrigerators. Okay, radiators in, refrigerators out, because we need to focus and put our money and emotional investment of the relationship that nurtures us, that holds us. And you just need one even. If you remember the film Forrest Gump, the Forrest did not was bullied. He had clippers in the leg. He can't walk. He would get up in the bus and nobody will allow him to sit beside him because he's been bullied. He's odd. He's eccentric. Now he has one friend. That is Jenny. They hang out together. Jenny loves unconditional opening of love. They hang out in the trees. And then bullies come, throw stones. And Jenny says, "Run, Forrest, run." Forrest cannot walk. How can he run? But that is the indication and metaphor of one solid friendship. Forrest runs and clippers come off. He overcomes the barriers and limitations of his confidence and the limitations of a disability, and that caused by one good, strong, high quality connection.
Clinical studies reveal that there is a strong bi-directional link between asthma and trauma. There are a lot of interdisciplinary research are talking about these. A lot of PTSDs are also connected with childhood experience and stuff like that. And some of them are also with comorbidity. Now,
Okay.
are we entering into the era of holistic well-being? Is it a very early age? Because the way you are approaching, it's not objectively you are looking at the illness. You are trying to understand the code, the reason, the backstory behind it.
It's a good question. It's an expansive one, so I'll take some time. So, firstly, we have to know that we are coming out of the mental illness model to from mental health to mental wealth. And I position myself in that category after 30 years in psychiatry and many more years as a medical doctor. I saw what is important is prevention. Rather than treating the acute symptoms and symptom reductions, we psychiatrists are seeing about this pill giving machines, okay? It does not work. The only medical model does not work. But in medicine, when I was in athlete's taught, it somehow become reductionist. Okay, it's a kind of narrow viewpoint of the world. Humans have huge dimensionality: the physical health, the mental health, emotional health, social dimension, spiritual dimension, even now technological dimension. We are in an ecosystem, and unless we see things holistically, a child might be abused, okay, at home. The child goes to school. So that is a systemic way. What are the system the child is involved? There are friend system. So the whole ecosystem of care. Maybe everything is okay. The child goes to school and seriously bullied there. And we don't know why the child is depressed. So we really need to look at all the dimensions. So the formulation when we do as a clinical study, a clinical kind of approach, we need to see etiology. So this person, what is the predisposition factors? How this person come? What happened to this person? That's the question. Okay, it's called trauma focused question rather than what is problems with you. What are the symptoms? We moved away. What happened to you? So is it developmental issue? Is it an emotional issue? Is it etiological issue? Where this is coming from? And we made a formulation, the predisposing factor, what is precipitating and triggering this, what is perpetuating or maintaining it, and what are your strengths. This is the important bit. We just do not see what is broken. we also see what is strength and use the strength based approach to mental health, and that is resilience. This is where I'm slowly moving to more teaching and training I call is human potential coaching. I'm a human potential coach. I learned from SLN Institute in California, where the human potential movement started. It's about humanistic and transpersonal psychology, bringing alongside evidence based, alongside philosophy, arts, creative arts, and I feel the dimensions in me, I can bring this together to help a child or an individual because an individual goes into various dimensions. That is the mental wealth. Again, I'll give another example. For Foresight research in government of UK says a word called mental capital. Mental capital mean what is our resources? Emotional resources, cognitive or intellectual resources. This is alongside our other resources is mental wealth. Okay, our strength. From positive psychology, we brings what is strength in us, what is not broken. These are mental wealth. When this is overwhelmed, say I am overwhelmed with a lot of studies, I'm overwhelmed with the work, so much pressure, our resources gets depleted, then we are stressed. The resilience is learning the ways how to build up your emotional resources to cope with the challenges in life. Our world is a VUCA world, it's a volatile world, it's a chaotic world, it's an unpredictable world. It is a world that we're trying to cope with the new AI and the systems and technology. We are lost with social media. How we can cope, how can even detox, digital detox, all of this is really important to develop our mental wealth. And our human potential is we must be what we can be. It comes from Maslow's thinking of hierarchy of needs, that we go from basics slowly up into transcendence or self actualization. That is being thriving. So we have to question ourselves why we do what we're doing. What are the barriers of things that are at work? How can I improve myself? That questioning, writing, reflecting is really important. Now, you mentioned about clinical situations like asthma, like PTSD. You mentioned about childhood trauma. Now, we need to remember, if I go clinically, this is called ACE, childhood adverse experiences. We know if there is more than four, three is actually really affects long-term have in our mental health, be it physical like asthma, be it like depression, anxiety, immunity, sleep, everything is affected from that childhood trauma. Okay. Trauma is one of the most under-recognized things in the world, and we're getting to better understanding trauma. We are having trauma-focused work, trauma-informed therapy. We must know that trauma doesn't have a medical intervention. If you're depressed, yes, but trauma is an event, it's not a diagnosis. But for trauma, we can approach in a holistic way. We cannot just say, okay, I have trauma, I have PTSD symptom, I have flashbacks, I have nightmares, I am just can't really go there, and I am aroused, I'm anxious, I'm depressed. You cannot treat just the symptoms with medicine. So what we have to do to look to the whole picture. Even lifestyle medicine, such as how is our nutrition, sleep, positive social connections, how we are exercising and doing physical activity. Are we doing harmful substances like we are stressed, we smoke, we do alcohol and things? So we need to see the whole lifestyle factors, the other factors around trauma, our home, our relationships, our spiritual dimensions, our outlook. Everything together is builds up our resilience, our mental wealth. And when we done that, we move towards fulfilling our human potential, our aspirations so we can thrive. That's why we need to see holistically. We cannot be narrow-minded. We cannot work with one discipline, that is medicine or psychology or even whatever. We need to be physical, mental, emotional, cognitive, and transpersonal. The spirit dimension, the S word, I would say in our work in National Health Service, is a dirty word. The L word, the love word, is a dirty word. We don't use love. Okay, we don't use the spirit. But the religious, I'm not just a religious construct. Yes, the rituals are important. I'm talking about spiritual connections, generosity, and the most important factor is gratitude. It's about not having thank you notes. It's about leading a grateful life. What it is, I will spend 1 minute on this because we just spent yesterday about 100 years of Brother David Stendhal Rust's birthday, who is the grandfather of gratitude. He's a Benedictine monk. He changed my life and millions of people's lives, from opera to Rick Hansen to whoever you can think of. Gratitude is not about just you thank you person, you feel happy. When you are grateful, you become happy. Gratitude means you cannot, with a closed heart, you cannot be grateful. It means you open your heart, you recognize a good is happening, and you respond in a grateful way. So you see, it's a cognitive component, understanding of good. That person gave me a smile, car smile even, and understanding, opening the heart and response. The response is thanksgiving, but the gratitude life, the grateful life is accepting everything is life as a gift. I woke up today, I'm alive. It's a gift. Nobody has given this day to me. It is given. It's a gift. I open my eyes, I am seeing so many people can't. I have food in the fridge. I place my ritual is in the morning to place my feet and see I have feet, I'm alive, I'm grateful. Looking into life that everything is a gift and there are practices. Robert Emmons, McCullough, has many researchers have done after Brother David is gratefulness. The three things I'm grateful for today, writing in a diary. That's why diary is important. Three things I'm grateful for today really changes our brain, makes us happier. Our physically gets better. Our social relationships gets better. There are many ways to gratitude practice. Gratitude letters. There are Nikon practice in Japan. I used to do one thing. I have few pebbles in my right pocket. Whenever I see something that I'm grateful for now for everything in life. For you, for the trees, for this time, to be alive, to be able to speak, to contribute. However, in the past, I used to have one thing. Oh, this is sunshine today in cloudy London. I put one pebble onto left, and in the end of the day, I count my blessings. This changes lives. This is one of the most important practices of resilience. Most important practices to bring that holistic picture. If you're grateful, you're mindful. People talk about mindful practice, which is another very important factor of resilience. Noticing, being in the moment, savoring, right here, right now. But if you're grateful, you're noticing. You are in the moment. You cannot be grateful with closed heart. You open your heart. So it's a matter of the heart. It's gratis. So these practices, when we teach our children, write things you're grateful for. Write things in the diary. Or let's talk about a little kid talks to the mother sitting at the bed. Three things you did well today. Positive psychology. Why? Generally, our brain focuses on things that doesn't go well. Now, if we focus three things that go well, three things I feel proud of, that's a practice can be built in for a very young childhood. Three things you are grateful for. I diarize every day three questions, and this might be useful for your audience. Number one, have I looked after my body today? That means, have I eaten well, healthy? Have I had some activity and exercise? Have I slept well? Okay. Have I looked after my body? Have I looked after my mind? That means, have I been curious? Have I learned something? Have I used my brain, basically? Okay. Because curiosity and being lifelong learning and being creative is one of the important factors of resilience again. Okay, so have I been curious and have I connected to myself? What I did made to feel joy. Have I connected to nature? Even a lot of us don't have the luxury to have a garden. Even a little watering a plant is a connection mindfully. Okay, and connected to people around me and the world around me. Okay, connected to my pet. Body, mind, connection. If you monitor yourself, you build up your resilience. What is monitored gets done. So I have already talked about many practices, okay? Diarizing it, grateful practices, mindful practices, relationships, self-compassion, self-awareness. All of these build up that inner strength and our inbuilt muscles of resilience.
The way I'm hearing all these, that if we really focus on these softer, fluider side of things,
Uh-huh.
we will manage, not only manage ourselves well, we will create a bar to the diseases also.
Look, this is not a soft skills. This is the skills, okay? You talk about in our education when you grown out, we have been focused on education, pedagogy, get marks, get this, get that. It does not work only cognitive intelligence. Daniel Goleman's research is all about emotional intelligence, how to know ourselves, how to be self regulating, how to know the relationship and create relationships. These are the most important skills to flourish, to be what we can be, to thrive, to be excellence. Excellence is hard work. It only comes through wisdom. And those wisdom, like gratitude, it's a spiritual practice, but it's a secular practice at the same time throughout all traditions. This makes us bounce back and be excellent. So it's not just a soft skill. It's mandatory. These are the skills we haven't learned, but you can learn and change our brain. Our brain is neuroplastic. You practice this, you create neural grooves, you learn better, we change ourselves, we embody it. I'll give you an example. I work with kids, I mean, not kids, people with IIT, the one of the most important organizations in India, Indian Institute of Technology, especially in Kharagpur. Now, they have above IQ than me or most of us. They're a really technically brilliant people. And Google head to everybody is from IIT and all of that. When I sometimes go there, why I teach this well-being and excellence and self-mastery programs, they learn, they are very good in skills. They are very poor in social skills, interpersonal skills. They're poor sometimes in really how to manage themselves when they go to a bigger corporation company. They get lost because they're not in education anymore. They don't have the skills to talk. They don't have the skills to manage and self-regulate. They don't know how to be social, how to even communicate compassionately, how the building the muscles of empathy and gratitude. This really makes them self-aware, aware of the environment and relationship. So this is highly important, not just soft skills.
On that, we should end our podcast here. Thank you. Thank you, Avidya, for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I hope it would be useful for others.
Absolutely. Thank you.